right, it's been a lot of potential trade rumors involving the Detroit Pistons over this whole off season. We had the whole Bradley Beal thing that started off, and from what I understand, he's still on the trading block. Miami was trying to get him. I think that's what could be holding up the Chris Paul trade, because with them, they willing to take on John Wall, $41 million contract as well. And then we had the Westbrook thing. Russell Westbrook thing, we fell short on that one. I understand not wanting to really go all in right now and then give up your future right now. The Pistons all in, but to give up 3 or 4 first-round draft picks and swap some more, I can agree that's a tad bit ludicrous. And then now DeMar DeRozan trade talks is going around Twitter, so I don't know if this is actual factual. We just calling this a rumor. But we back, Motor City Sports Talk. We in the building. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. But I do know for a fact that the Spurs were talking about shopping DeMar DeRozan. For a fact. I knew this to be a fact. Before this offseason, they were supposed to trade DeMar DeRozan and bring in Bojanovic to be his replacement. Now, trade talks ran back up about trading DeRozan because I think he in a contract year, and I don't think the Spurs expect to be signing him back. Now, they got DeJounte Murray coming back. They got the Forbes kid from Michigan State, pretty good. And then Derek White is really good over there. Still got LaMarcus Aldridge. They got a nice little team. They can make a run. But I heard before they even signed Bojanovic that they were going to wanted to get Bojanovic. Well, they didn't sign Bojanovic, but they wanted to get Bojanovic and then trade DeMar DeRozan. Bojanovic, ended up going to Utah. But I heard that that's what they wanted to do. So I don't know if they are, they feel like they got the replacement, got enough guards or whatever. But I heard they want to trade DeMar DeRozan. I think this is probably the second best fit out of the guys that we've been linked to, or talks about Westbrook and Bradley Beal. But I think this is one of the good fits because DeMar DeRozan, he kind of reminds you of a classic Piston, a guy that can defend, a guy that ain't really flashy. He can be flashy with his dunks. I remember he was on Master P Tribal Team and they had a little show on Nickelodeon as a kid. That's where I remember DeMar DeRozan coming up. Man, he can dunk, he can defend. He's a mid-range assassin, so that automatically makes you think of Richard Hamilton. Talking about the better mid-range. He probably the best mid-range shooter right now. He probably the only willing one, really, on a consistent basis. But he's a really good player. And I think he'd be a really good fit for the Pistons. Way better than Russell Westbrook. Him and Blake, I think they both would fit well. He brings defense. He can shoot a little bit from 3. I think he would have to improve there. But athletic, drive to the bucket, finish above the rim. He not going to sell tickets like a Westbrook. But I think he bring hope to the hardcore Piston fan. And if they was able to keep Drummond, Griffin, and DeMar DeRozan, I like DeMar DeRozan as a basketball fit better than Russell Westbrook. Now, I heard him and Dwayne Casey has a falling out. Remember, he benched them last year in Toronto, or they had some words or whatever. And I know Casey ended up benching him, so I don't know if that's gonna be an uphill battle, to get him to stay here, or can they throw that away? Usually, as young men growing up and teenagers, boys and men, we usually clash a lot, and we usually able to argue and throw hands, wrestle, and we be cool. At least, I was growing up as young men and men, we were able to put our differences aside and move on, and just a hiccup. But now a lot of males now, or guys that call themselves males, really holding on to things like women. Women hold on to things. Women bring up something you did, 20, 30 years ago or 5 years ago. No matter what good things you do, it's a good, bad thing you did. They hold on to stuff. Really, that's not really a male trait. That's an estrogen trait of doing that. But I believe Dwayne Casey and DeMar DeRozan can put it aside. And at this point, if he play in Toronto, why wouldn't you play in Detroit? You ain't got to go through customs and stuff of that nature. But basketball fit wise, if you're able to keep him, put him with Blake, put him with Drummond, you had an excellent defender. You had, he in his prime, fast guy, can score the bucket, can get you a bucket. Blake Griffin has showed to make a ton of big baskets, and that's what's kind of, him and Kyle Lowry problem in Toronto. I think it's a good fit. And he also shows some playmaking ability to really, make some things happen in San Antonio. He showed to be a better passer than they anticipated. They just don't want to pay him. So expect him to be traded by the trade deadline anyway. And I think maybe Bradley Beal might be a better fit out there, all the available guys, because Bradley Beal can stretch the floor. And Bradley Beal can, kind of play that point guard position as well, too. And so can DeRozan. The only difference is the Pistons need that shooting. And Bradley Beal got, really good range. But I wouldn't be mad with DeMar DeRozan. I mean, that's a guy that you can kind of build with. I don't think it's a guy that you necessarily going to build a championship around. But in the NBA where you got AD and LeBron and Kawhi and Paul George, in the East you got Tatum and Kemba Walker, which I think is going to be a really good tandem if they can figure it out. Camaraderie-wise, you got who else you got in the East? Giannis and Chris Middleton. You got Brogdon and Oladipo and Miles Turner, and you got Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. I think it's good to have Blake Griffin and DeMar DeRozan, and you throw Andre Drummond in if he continues to improve. So that's the way to go. Would I pay him as soon as he got here? I would kind of want to see a fit, but really, I think it'll work. I think the Pistons with DeMar DeRozan, I think the Pistons just fit wise, they'll put themselves at the top of the Eastern Conference, because you don't know what's gonna happen. With Giannis develop a jumper, will Boston figure it out with Brad Stevenson, with all those, the Morris gone, the Kyrie Irving gone, the Al Horford gone, some of the trouble vets gone, where Hayward come back to form, they make any more moves. Toronto obviously lost Kawhi Leonard. They'll be in the mix. Brooklyn won't get Kevin Durant back till next year. And that's if he's 100% healthy. So I actually think the Pistons really do themselves a hell of a solid. Because if you give up Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, and maybe a number one pick and another number one protected, you can get DeMar DeRozan here. You keep Dre and Griffin. I think they win. They win over 50 games, around 50 games. And they finish, top 4 in the East at least, in my opinion. So I think it's worth it for Tom Gores, and they send the Pistons and a few other teams. I think the Lakers, they say interested in DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan probably would love to go back to L.A. I think it was the Lakers. But really what they got to offer, the Pistons got the assets to pull something off like that. I don't know if they're still working with Washington about Bradley Beal, what they're going to do with Bradley Beal, but I don't think the Pistons are interested in taking on that John Wall contract if that's what they require. But for me, just looking at the NBA, man, I think it's gonna be some surprises. In the regular season, it's a marathon, not a sprint. In the West, I like Denver to win the most games. And I know they're gonna beat 100 this year, but I really like what they done. No, Porter hurt his knee again, but they still got Murray, still got Jokic and Gary Harris for my Spartan fans. In the East, I think it's wide open. I think, Ben Simmons, got to get a jumper. There'll be a problem in the East, but I'm not sure they're going to win it all. But if you could add DeRozan to the Detroit roster, I think that'd be tough. I think we'd be tough. I think we're right up there with Philly. I think we're a better shooting team, depending on who we keep. You know what I'm saying? Because Blake can shoot it. DeRozan can shoot it a little bit. I would anticipate Reggie be gone, so they probably have to bring back some. Can they bring Forbes in? Bring Forbes back? I don't know. But Forbes can really shoot it from Michigan State. I like him as well. So it'll be interesting, man. Hopefully they can pull it off. There's been a lot of ifs. It was a fifth. But we've been doing a ton of basketball talk. Lions camp about to start. So that Lions talk about to rev up. They pull off DeMar DeRozan in the trade, or Bradley Beal, or somebody around that line those lines. It's going to continue to be extended basketball talk. The NBA is really looking good right now. You got a lot of NFL players mad about their Madden rating. So that's kind of the talk right now. That Madden come out August 2nd, except for like the third week of August. So you got a lot of different football things about to ramp up. College about to kick off. Ohio State, fuck them. Michigan State, Michigan. So we'll see, man. But hey, Motor City Sports Talk. Appreciate everybody for checking in. Don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out to the email. Want to make a donation? No links in the description. Best donation you can make is share the videos. Don't forget to check out my other channel for more sports, music, entertainment, and much, much more. It's at Goodfellas Sports TV. One time for the one time. Motor City Sports Talk. We gone.